birthday now.
Hell yeah, dude! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, man! Day after my mom's birthday.
You say that as I hit the button. Like, oh, you wish me happy birthday, do you?
Yeah. Y'all don't love me.
Happy birthday, man! What year were you born?
83.
The love.
Oh, geez. Oh, Lord. You're as old as I am almost.
Yep.
Not quite. So, hey, I'm wondering out there in the chat, if anyone's out there, before we get into anything, I am doing a different streaming method slightly. I know it might look a little different on your screen if you're watching on a computer. I hope you can watch it on a computer. I don't know. Is it showing up in YouTube Shorts? That is my other question. If it shows up in YouTube Shorts, I'm not sure if it will or not, but when you stream in this format, the 4x11 or whatever the fuck it's called, I'm not sure. It should go to Shorts too. I'm not sure if it'll do it or not. So whatever, we'll find out in the chat if you guys want to tell me if it's streaming correctly or whatever, if you fucking hate it or you hate me or you hate everybody here. Where you love everybody, that'd be preferable. I mean, you could tell us about the love. I'd be okay with that too. Anyway. So, friends, Romans, and Patriots, lend me your ears and strap on your tinfoil hats because it's time for the Gay Frog Chat. The Gay Frog Chat is a weekly podcast where we go chin deep into a different conspiracy. This week, we're going to be talking about jmail.world. That's right. jmail.world. It is a website that someone specifically set up to go through the Epstein files and emails as if it was a regular like Gmail interface, if that makes sense. So I can go through here. These are all of the emails that went through or were released through the Epstein files in order. You can go through and search them like it's like a Gmail, you know? So if you want to search for, I don't know, jerky.
Does it have the topics set correct to the way the topics of the emails would have been set before?
Yes. So let's say you pull up an email.
Easier.
You pull up an email, right? And it says, oh, hi, Francis J.E., which means Jeffrey Epstein, asked M, so there's always like fucking who knows what they're talking about, to email you to whether or not you'd be able to teach me how to make the beef jerky. Thank you. And then it says, I will come teach class. So it gives you the reply to the email. So you know in context what the email is replying to, versus if you go through the regular files and you pull up the second email, you would just be like, I will come teach jerky class. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Well, no, you know that it's a response to Jeffrey Epstein in his email right there. Anyway, there's several things in here that are interesting that I thought we could go through. And if anybody has in the chat anything specifically that they would like me to look up, again, I will totally do that. Yeah, so you want to do cheese pizza, let's say?
Yeah, I heard some things about that.
We have 1,086 results for the terms cheese pizza.
You know, I heard that Donald Trump was mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Jesus was in the Bible.
Okay, why is that? Let's pull that up. That's very interesting because I was looking at that very fact earlier today. Why is Donald Trump mentioned so many times? Or we'll just go Trump, because that'll get more hits. So he's got 5,808 hits for the term Trump.
Ooh. Jeffrey, all you did was talk shit about Trump.
So a lot of them are campaign emails from the Trump organization, because Jeffrey Epstein subscribed to Donald J. Trump emailer, official Donald Trump polling, official Donald Trump campaign store, Trump press briefings. So these are all different methods that mass emails get sent out with the name Trump on it, and he signed up for all of them for some reason. Right? So none of those are directly about Trump as in like, oh, well, there's files in the Epstein. No, these are emails. This is emails. And that's emails that he signed up from the Trump campaign. I assume because he wants to know what they're up to. I assume because they are his enemy and he does not like them, as we will also go into in a minute. But before we get into all of that, we're joined by Ohio Patriot. What's going down, man?
Oh, just a bunch of stuff. Trying to figure out a new place to move to in a couple months. And basically go from there. So.
Word. Winchworm. The inchworm winch.
Hey, howdy. Hey, I'll get there one winch line cable at a time.
Hoddly ho. What do you know? Mr. Leo, what's going down, man?
What's good? I had a death in the family, so everything's great.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. Send some thoughts and prayers your way.
Thank you.
Maybe a bouquet of flowers if you give me like a P.O. box.
That's all good. Thanks anyway.
Sorry to hear that, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, downside of the vertical mode is what you show can't be read. That is true. How about if I pull something up and make it bigger? Hold on, let me go to this, and we'll go like that.
That's the way you're gonna have to do it.
Now you can actually see it. Okay.
It's better.
Better, but not ideal. Fair enough. But this way, hopefully, we get some new viewers. Like this guy, Sifan. He says, "Fuck Trump." Okay, I understand.
I mean,
people don't like Trump, but again, why is Trump so in these emails so much? Well, the first reason, as I just discussed, is the fact that Jeffrey Epstein signed up for all of the Trump polling and Trump campaign and Donald Trump email list things that he could sign up for. But then you find out a lot of them are actually back and forths about how much he hates Trump and how much he despises Trump and how much he thinks that Trump is a piece of shit and that he does not like him, right? There's a lot of those emails for some reason. And then if you look back far enough, and I forget what the search term specifically is to do this, but there is emails, and Tim Pool actually did a video on it earlier today. It was a ABC News article that said from the 2000s, I believe it was right before Jeffrey Epstein got arrested the first time, that as Speaker Mike Johnson said, Trump went state's evidence against Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He said that he was a disgusting piece of shit. He broke off personal ties, which they had been friends up until that point. And I'm willing to believe that Trump probably did some bad stuff. I don't know if he did anything with kids. I would question that, and I would think that it would at least need to be investigated whether or not kids were involved with anything Trump did. But whether or not he hired hookers and had hand jobs, I don't know, man.
I think Elon's theory of the funniest version of reality is probably what's real. I think it would be hilarious if Trump sexually assaulted the handler for the minor.
Well, and specifically, one of the things that there was a communication from a police chief who was involved in arresting Jeffrey Epstein, who stated that Trump was one of the first people who contacted police about Epstein to turn him in. And specifically when he did, he mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and how she was an evil person and needed to be looked at too. So going back to 2006, Trump. Okay, so if you go back before 2006, Trump and Epstein were friends. It seems that at some point in there, Trump discovered what was going on to some extent with Epstein, decided to break ties with him, and then go as far as turning him into the police, going over to the police and telling them what evidence of wrongdoing that he had of Epstein. Epstein later shortly after, actually, gets arrested, thrown in prison, like charged with child trafficking and thrown in prison. Does a couple years, like slap on the wrist type shit is how they did it, and then let him out. And then not every single, but it seems like most of the emails about Trump after that point are like, fuck Trump, he's a piece of shit, blah blah blah. Oh, did you see what the orange monkey idiot retard did? You know, like language like that. And that would make sense if Epstein knew that Trump turned him in. That would make sense. And I'm not saying this is true, but this is where evidence is leading me, especially with that ABC News article about Trump turning him in. What's that?
Can you look up how many times the word goyim is used?
The word what is used? You kind of broke up there.
Goyim.
Goyim.
How do you spell goyim? And what's up, Fish?
Hello.
How do you spell goyim? You would know.
Goyum.
Go yum. Go yum. Like some yummy goo.
I don't
Only 4 times.
I don't appreciate being called out like that. As soon as I get here.
I'm just kidding. I love you, bro.
So people either
it's really only mentioned 4 times because it seemed like with all the memes and everything I'd been seeing in other circles, it seemed like maybe it had been mentioned more times than that.
Well, listen to this. Is it going to be 100% Jew night? Even Pearl Man on Yum Yum has some goyim. I'm getting my media elite list faxed out for Saturday and we'll email some names. How about Charlie Rose? Love him. What about Jane Fonda, my new best friend? Nothing like an ex-Jew hater with Jewish boyfriend to mix it up. The fuck, bro? That's from Peg. She's asking if it's going to be Jew night.
I feel like we need to go through all whopping 4 of them that have the word goyim in them. The memes really made it seem like there were thousands of instances of him using that term. So maybe we misspelled it.
Maybe goy. Yeah, I don't think Fish really knows how to spell it. I was just kidding. Goy. Okay, there's 20 with goy. Whatever. I mean, like, who cares, bro? There is talk about like Jewish supremacy, like Jewish fucking.
Yeah, that was more so the question. Is that legitimate or is it unfounded, or is it something that they're saying in joking or in jest?
They're right. They're right.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've been looking into for the past couple of days is the term jerky. Do you guys know about jerky?
Yes.
So apparently,
that was the conversation they was having. Of course, jerky is not code word at all. No, they just love jerky. You know?
Well, when you read the emails, sometimes it does almost seem like they're talking about beef jerky. And then other times, it really seems like they're not talking about jerky at all. They're talking about something completely different that doesn't make sense. That, you know, and like they had correspondence with a chef at a place called Cannibal, a restaurant called Cannibal.
Yes.
As to how to cook jerky the best and to have the best flavor and stuff like that. So I don't know what that's about, but it seems like they're cooking little kids. It seems like that's what jerky is children. They're taking children and they're butchering them and they are taking the meat and cooking it in some fucking spirit cooking type thing with some Satanism mixed in. It seems like there's Satanism involved. Like if you turn, I haven't done this one yet.
Or it's cannabis.
Did you say it's cannabis?
How do you spell Satan? I don't even know how to spell that.
Without the I.
There's no I.
The American education system has failed us is coming up next episode.
I don't search for Satan very often. I'm sorry. So we've got 68. Wow. In Worship of Satan is the name of this strain.
You
Go
know,
back to the
honestly, is worth under-mentioned in the Epstein files. That's what we really need to know, because that's going to be the classified documents that are leaked and that are the most important.
Wow, there's a lot here, bro.
Yeah. More than Goyim.
No, dude, honestly, I'm so happy that Goyim was a dead end. I was hoping that it was going to be. It's restored a little bit of my faith in humanity, to be honest.
Wow. Well, there's that. So look at the name of these strings. Let me make it a little bit smaller so I can see the actual name. The image of an email with a story about Satan appearing. Horrifying agony for all eternity. Persistent Satan. Horrifying agony. Oh, the same thing. You're still not afraid? Ask Satan. And healthy lives, and Satan created McDonald's. That might be true.
Mm-hmm.
Father said she met the queen. Whoops. Wait. What is this? Let's see original document. Wow, you can just click and see the original document too. That's crazy. Okay, wow. I don't know, bro. There's a lot here. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to search up or talk about, but I'm definitely open to it. There's a lot on Satan, apparently. What's up, Z? How's it going, man? Z?
Unavailable at the moment.
What
What
are your
about Pete's
thoughts?
Pizza?
What are your thoughts, Fish? You have any Epstein thoughts to share?
I don't know. I think it's. Have you heard about the he possibly is alive because he was caught buying V-Bucks?
Well, there's also the story of medical people faking bringing his body out so that media would chase it. That doesn't mean that he wasn't dead, but they did fake an Epstein body while he was, supposedly dead in the cell. Mocked up like towels and fucking pillows and stuff to look like a body under sheets and put it in a van and drove the van away. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, so what do you guys think about the state's evidence that, or the evidence that Trump turned to police and turned Epstein in to try to get him busted back in like 2006?
Anybody? Okay. I mean, it kind of shows a bit that Trump wasn't playing his game, that the left thought that he was one of the main guys on the island, doing the kid touching. That will at least say something on his behalf. Like for now. But still, who knows?
Whoa, Cecilia. Someone saying that I should go to the oldest first.
You are dead. Is that what that says?
How do you do that?
I would say anything's possible at this point, honestly.
It doesn't have the normal options that Gmail has. Not all of them, anyway. Random page. You just go to a random page. That's crazy.
Did you look at
Yeah,
how
hit
many
it 5
that,
times and see where we end up.
Did you look at how many times that pizza was mentioned?
Oh yeah, let's look at pizza. Oops, there's not 2 A's in pizza.
You don't know how to spell pizza either?
Shut the
Damn.
fuck up.
What are you, illiterate?
My finger slipped.
Yeah. I blame your finger, too.
444 mentions of pizza.
Sheesh.
And it doesn't look like he was like signed up for Papa John's or something, you know. They're all like from unknown.
Good catch.
What's that?
Good catch on making sure he wasn't signed up for something stupid, like, you know, when he signed up for Donald Trump postage emails, like, what, 3 different kinds of them? It's honestly, a part of me thinks that this email is entirely a decoy. It's very convenient what's on it.
What was the name of the fucking Washington D.C. pizza place? Comet Pizza.
Comet Ping Pong Pizza. Or is it Comet Pizza and Ping Pong? Some shit like that. Or Comet Ping Pong Pizza.
It was Comet Ping Pong.
Okay.
Dude, there's 700 hits for ping pong. Does ping pong mean something? What the fuck? Bro, I don't know. There's a lot here.
Kind of sound like little Asian boy language. Hey, I got a ping pong.
Oh, you like a ping pong?
Yeah.
Ping pong zing zong? Well, I guess we could just go to Twitter. I've got some stuff pulled up there. I don't know. I thought that would be more interesting to go through, but it seems like that's like some deep research type shit you'd have to go through. You know what I mean?
Fire games, you need to have proof of that. And there's still no proof yet. Just other than that they hate them.
I don't know what year Epstein was at. Wait. I don't know what years Epstein was active and all, but I wonder if there's paper logs to say pre-internet days. Wonder where that might be if it exists. Well, I mean, the thing about the Epstein files, if you guys don't know, they released 3 million documents, right? But they've got 300 terabytes of information. And if you have 300 terabytes, that doesn't mean documents. You know, you could have 10 billion documents and it wouldn't be that fucking big of, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that much information. Pictures, yeah, sure. I guess you could eventually get to 300 terabytes in pictures, but it means movies.
Video.
Yeah. So and I'm not saying that we should see a lot of these videos because I'm sure that there's some shit that you don't want to see. You know what I mean? But I think that
most of it's being released where the video itself is just black, but there's audio.
I mean, I guess if that's the way that you have to do it, I'm not sure. It definitely needs to be investigated, and it definitely needs to be transparent in a way that the public can look into and verify, but it also needs to protect the victims. We don't need to be seeing videos of victims, you know what I mean? Not publicly. So
I was just thinking, how many times have we talked about pizza on this chat and beef jerky? I mean, we actually talked about pizza and beef jerky, but
yeah, we talk about food.
You know, there's somebody said something about a torture chamber being mentioned in there, but to be honest with you, I know a lot of friends who refer to work as the torture chamber.
But if we had our conversations in email form, would it sound exactly like this?
I don't know. If you search the term torture, there's 220 hits.
Did you see the picture of the pizza? The kids all eating the pizza at the tables.
What was
No,
that
is
one?
that from Comet Ping Pong?
If we hit,
What was that one pizza place in Colorado you always talk about?
Oh, Bojo's.
Yeah, Bojo's.
I fucking love Bojo's.
Right.
You know Bojo's, don't you, Z?
Yep, I do.
Yeah. I took Never Enough Ammo there when he came here. I actually took you there fucking too. Oh, he left.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anyway, the pizza makes sense because it shows pictures of like kids playing and like there being tons of pizza. Like,
Is he really talking about Bojo's, or is that a code word?
I don't think he's talking about Bojo's. There was no conspiracy when we were in Colorado.
They really sure love that pizza.
Maybe there was a conspiracy, but we weren't educated to it.
Fire Games says Trump is a pedo and should be in jail.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
And that's kind of
And
the
where's
big
the
thing.
evidence? Still, even in the emails, where's the evidence that?
Look at the pictures and the redacted pictures. You can't see them because they're redacted.
yeah, well, clearly because Epstein was subscribed to 3 different Trump mass email type things that, you know, Trump was very, very deeply mentioned in the Epstein files, and therefore he must have tangentially molested a child. It couldn't possibly be that the entirety of the Epstein files mentioning Trump is him bitching about Trump getting him in prison for fucking molesting children. Back in, what was it, 06, Honda?
There are some claims, if you go to Grok, right? Like, let's go to Grok here and ask, what claims about Trump are made in the Epstein files? I'm just going to take a second and think. All right. Social and business ties to Epstein, extensive mentions to their past friendship, shared social circles, Palm Beach, Manhattan, and Epstein's contacts with Trump-related people or entities, e.g. Mar-a-Lago. Emails show Epstein and others discussing Trump, sharing news articles about him, or gossiping about him and his family and politics. Flight logs. So Trump was on the flight logs. Prosecutors noted in 2020 emails that Trump flew on the Epstein private plane at least 8 times between 1993 and 1996, mostly domestic flights. Some included Ghislaine Maxwell. This contradicted Trump's prior public statements. No wrongdoing is implied on the flights alone. Trump banning Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, files including a 2009 email paraphrased where Epstein recounted Trump saying Epstein was not a member but a guest, and that they never asked him to leave. This particularly aligns with Trump's claims about cutting ties. Partially aligns with Trump's claims, excuse me. There's Trump contacting authorities, some documents referencing Trump telling Palm Beach police around 2006 early investigations that he was glad that they were stopping Epstein, calling him disgusting and evil, and Maxwell as well. However, the DOJ stated it did not it had no corroborating evidence for such a call. Although that's contradicted by the fucking news story that came out yesterday by ABC talking about the police chief who came out and said directly that they did receive a call from Trump. Unverified sexual misconduct allegations. Here we go. The files contain lists of complaints of sexual assault, rape claims against Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Some compiled by FBI as recently as 2025, tied to the Epstein circle or victims' accounts. These include sensationalist or unsubstantiated accusations, often from public submissions to the FBI. So that means anyone can just call into the FBI and say, I was at Mar-a-Lago and Trump raped me in 1994 or something. Some timed near elections like 2020. The DOJ and White House described many as untrue, unfounded, false, or lacking evidence. Trump consistently denied any wrongdoing related to Epstein. Other Benign or contextual mentions. What is that word? BENIGN? Anyone?
Benign.
Benign. Jesus Christ. Epstein followed Trump news. There are references to introductions or casual interactions. One victim account of Epstein playfully commenting on a woman in Trump's presence. No direct evidence of Trump participating in Epstein's crimes appears confirmed in reporting. Importantly, the DOJ noted that the public submissions process led to inclusion of fake, false, or unsubstantiated material. Trump has not been accused or charged of any crimes connected to Epstein based on these releases. Reporting from sources like BBC, New York Times, and CNN, PBS, and others emphasizes that while ties are documented, sensationalized claims often lack corroboration. The full files are publicly available, blah, 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 blah. So
Right.
it does say that there were unverified sexual misconduct allegations, but it also says that many of these included public, like everyone could just call in and be like, oh, Trump's about to get elected. Like, what was that chick's name who said that Trump raped her in like 1994 at some random house with some friends who said that they weren't there, and I can't remember her name. God damn it. That wasn't Eugene Carroll, was it? No.
She was the one at the dressing booth or whatever.
Again, man, like, I don't think anyone's claimed that Trump did anything with kids.
Nobody's claiming anything about anybody doing anything with anybody, nor is anybody going to prosecute anybody for anything because everything's redacted. So rather than redact everything and so nobody can make sense of anything that's going on when they actually read or see the pictures because everything's blocked out, why don't they protect the victims themselves and release the names of the people that are accused in the photos as well as in the conversations leading up to and around? Because then you're still protecting the person. The only people that are going to know who those people are is basically the person who did the raping or the molesting or the whatever. So if something happens to the people that are in those, pictures or those statements that are blocked out, then they know that they were targets, because it doesn't make any sense and nobody can get any sort of position on anything because of the redaction. That's the whole point. It's stupid.
Which is why I say
It's a farce.
And I wonder what you guys think about this, that everyone needs to be investigated, every single person, and they need to start with people who are within our own justice system. So if, like, Kash Patel, his name comes up, guess what? First person to be investigated is Kash Patel. And probably he needs to recuse himself if his name shows up, right? Like if it turns out that they just mentioned him in the emails or something, and they do the investigation and it turns out Kash Patel is squeaky clean, he should still not have anything to do with the investigation because his name was mentioned. Right? So we need to get everyone who's involved with this needs to not be involved with the investigation of it.
I completely agree with you. Like, I think they should absolutely do that, as well as the only serious person that should be kind of out of the loop would be Donald Trump himself. And because those people recuse themselves, they can't be pardoned by Trump. Like, there should be some sort of rule, because he can't be accused of anything while he's in office, regardless. I mean, that's just a merry-go-round. There's no reason to do it. But let's go after.
Be accused of a crime that happened.
It doesn't matter. He already is a felon. It doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters.
Well, you know that those felonies are bullshit, right?
No, I don't. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter. Like, if it's a rich financial person who gets in trouble for a felony financially, they're just able to go free because they have enough money to get off free. If it's me who's committing the fraud or the felony financially, then I'm going to go to jail or prison. Like I'm going to be spending the rest of my life making up for it. So I don't believe it's bullshit personally. Like,
What
but
was the felony that he was convicted of?
it doesn't. Again, I'm not. It doesn't matter at this point because he's already there. What I'm saying is, don't go after Trump for all these things because what difference does it make? He's already in office. Let's go after all the, like Kash Patel. Let's go after all the people, Democrats, Republicans, anybody who was involved with it, including the actors and the actresses. I think that's a big genre of people we're kind of just not even talking about. Like, let's like open these doors up, like let some of the redactions go, protect the victims, but just spill the names of all the crappy people, and let's let us make the decision. Or is it just too late already? Like, is it just going to be washed under the board because it's redacted? Oh well, that's what it was. Nobody's to blame. Let's just let it go. Like that's what I'm saying. That's all.
So the felony that he was convicted of, just so you know, was falsifying business records, which is a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. It becomes a felony if it is in pursuit of another crime. So like you falsify business records because you're doing tax evasion, right? Now the tax evasion and the falsifying business records are combined together to be a felony because there's two things together. They convicted him on a felony with no underlying crime.
That's fine. I'm not saying to go after Trump at all. I'm saying to leave Trump out of this.
I'm telling you why those felonies are not felonies and bullshit. Because if they weren't felonies, if they were just the misdemeanor crime of the like falsifying business records, which is it is a crime. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a misdemeanor. At the time that they had the trial, that was beyond the statute of limitations.
Yeah, it's irrelevant to go after.
So they went after him. So no, it's not irrelevant because they went after him when he was out of office under a provision that had never been done before on any other previous president, right?
Well, it was kind of a witch hunt.
Secondary charge that didn't exist to push it into felony.
I'm not telling you it's not a witch hunt. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with part of what you're saying. Like, I agree they were going after him, and they were doing it for a reason. Like, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying leave Trump out of it and let's go after everyone else. And let's
I don't
open
live in
it
a
up.
country where
The easiest example of why this is bullshit is you would argue that people who are in prison right now because of weed charges shouldn't be in prison, right? Every single one of Trump's felonies should be redacted because the only reason he ended up in court over the sexual assault allegations was because of a law that New York State passed that they then redacted after the Trump trial. Trump was the only person ever charged by that law. It was politically motivated. That district attorney and the judge should both be in prison. But it's a one-way street.
Yeah, it's all good. Like, totally good. Trump has also, paid off a prostitute for what he did. So, like,
signing NDAs isn't illegal.
No, it's not. And I'm not saying it should be. I'm just questioning one's morality. So my bringing into my personal morality into what I would uphold as a leader is important to me. And so,
okay, well, let me ask you this. What's worse, paying off a prostitute to shut the fuck up or paying off the state to make a law to persecute one individual and then redacting that law because it wasn't constitutional?
They're both
Which one's worse?
They're neither.
No, one breaks the Constitution and the other one's a little slimy.
No, they're both equally bad. And here's the deal. Like, if you were to try to apply for a job and you had this one little indiscretion on your job thing and say, oh, well, they went after me because of this, you wouldn't get the job. But he got the highest possible position in government. So it's setting a precedence for something that has never been done before. And so we're learning that thing here. We're learning that. But with everything that's going on with Epstein, we're talking about some wicked shit. You said it yourself, Satanism is mentioned many, many times.
Yeah, and
So
they're
I
open
don't
it
think
up.
I don't think it set much of a precedent. I think it just shows it more. So that just shows you how many people are doing shit behind the scenes and a lot of people
Sure.
doing a lot of corruption in the political space.
Yeah. So open it up to the actors. I'm just saying because they have a big. It's the rich people, and the fact that Elon Musk got denied for membership to Epstein Island is comical at best. Like, sorry, bro, you're not part of our niche. Like, you just don't fit in, and that makes sense to me.
dude. Again, where are you getting that? That's completely fucking wrong.
Well, it's part of what.
It's factually incorrect.
transposed.
What you just said is completely
So
factually incorrect.
so then let's open it up right now. Open it up on your screen. You can open up the DOJ documents right now, or are you not allowed to do that because of
No, but to
copyright?
find let me AI would be better at answering this question than trying to thumb through literally 3 million emails to get the answer.
Okay, I'm down with
So
that.
let's find out, what does the Epstein email or files
Yeah.
say about Musk? Now, before it answers, I'll tell you what it says. Basically, Elon, I believe, it doesn't say that Elon ever did anything wrong, first of all. It shows absolutely no evidence of any wrongdoing by Elon Musk. He actually never went to the island physically. He asked about going to the island 2 different times and never ended up getting into the schedule for whatever reason. And then at some point stopped contacting fucking what's his name, obviously, because there's allegations. Now, the timing of it was a little sketchy because it was after his 2008 conviction, if I remember correctly. So it was, yes, here it is, 2012 and 2013. And there's a photo of him at a dinner with Epstein in 2015, right? So this was after his 2008 conviction. However, a lot of people didn't really know much about Epstein at that point. I'm not saying that Musk had any inside information one way or another, but it would seem like with the amount of time that he did in prison, that whatever he got convicted of wasn't that bad. If he was doing that bad as shit, he wouldn't have done, I think it was 2 years or 2.5 years is what he got in prison. And then he was out. For someone to be convicted of what he was convicted of, and that's another failing of our justice system, should have been, 25 to life, something like that. I don't know exactly, but he got a slap on the wrist because of who he is and because of the money that he has and because of the connections and probably because of the dirt that he has on people. So when it came time to actually put him behind bars, he got a slap on the wrist. So people on the outside who didn't really know what was going on with him saw that, oh yeah, he got in trouble for doing some stuff with some girls, but he was only in jail for 2 years, so it couldn't have been that bad. And I think, and I'm not sure, but I think that that's where Elon Musk was with the whole situation. But let's see what it says.
Well, that's kind of the thing with the whole Epstein files is, to be honest with you, the saddest part of this whole thing is the child trafficking and whatnot is the distraction. The actual crime is what financial deals were made after you got your child sex trafficking blackmail on some financial head.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother aspect to the actual crime of molesting a child. Yeah.
So multiple emails show Musk and Epstein discussing travel logistics such as helicopter rides to the island. One in 2012 exchange, Epstein asked how many people Musk would bring with. Musk replied it would be just him and his then wife, Tallulah Riley, asking what day night would be the wildest party on the island because he wanted to. Basically, the email said that he'd been working himself to the bone and he wanted to fucking get down and party. But I don't think he knew what kind of parties Epstein was into. Right? I think he knew that Epstein was into girls and even young girls, but not that young. You know what I mean? I don't know that he knew that. Anyway.
Well, yeah, and he's going to talk about it, because it's Elon. Like he opens his mouth about a lot of stuff.
In 2013 emails, Musk inquired about a good time to visit during holidays in the BVI St. James area. He'll be in the BVI St. James area, with Epstein responding flexibly, always space for you, and offering to arrange pickup. These contradicted Musk's prior statements from 2025 that he repeatedly refused Epstein's invitations and never visited the island. However, no evidence of an actual visit ever occurring. Reporting across sources, PBS, BBC, CNN, New York Times, and The Guardian, note files do not confirm Musk ever went to the island nor participated in any events there.
Right.
Musk denied visiting, attending parties, flying on Epstein's plane, or engaging in wrongdoing, calling some interpretations misinterpreted or potential smears, while emphasizing he pushed for the files to be released, which is true. Other mentions some files relating to Epstein, attempts to connect with Musk as described, unrequited overtures. So he did reach out to Musk, and Musk did tell him no. A possible 2014 calendar entry noting a tentative island visit, which Musk denied, and implied other correspondence about schedules or events. There are also unrelated mentions like Epstein and engineering a short relationship involving Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, at a dinner with tech figures linked to Epstein associates, described as a wild, or in some emails not directly implicating Musk in crimes. So his brother went to a wild party. That's what it sounds like. His brother went to a wild party with Epstein in like 2012 or 13. And then probably told his brother, like, damn, dude, I went to this crazy fucking party with Epstein. There was like bitches everywhere and doing crazy shit.
They take your phone. They make sure you don't have your phone when you go in. Could you imagine Elon going to a place like that where he has to be picked up by someone else and that he can't have any correspondence with the world outside? And then he gets whisked into this world to have whatever happen. Like, yeah, of course he's not going to do it. He's one of the richest men on earth. Like, yeah, I wouldn't do it either. I'd be like, no, I don't trust that. I'll drive myself there. I'll have my own security there, but I'm not going to let you dictate my visit. Like, I'm Elon Musk.
Well, I mean, that does show that at least there's no evidence that he's been to the island, and there's no accusations that he's done anything wrong. And he did specifically push for the files to be released, and he is specifically using his platform to allow people to share information about this, even if it makes him look bad on occasion, which there are some things that, like, well, it's not some things. It's specifically the email where he asked for the craziest party, right? That's the one thing that he did. It was like, hey, what night's going to be the craziest party? But again, there's no evidence that he knew anything about Epstein at that point that would make him think that the craziest party would be like children. You know what I mean? So you'd have to prove that, which I don't think you could. So
Did the Emmys with Ellen DeGeneres hosting, where they did the Pizzagate thing, did that not spark any of you guys' interest at all when you were watching it? Like, did that not, like, and then when you see the pictures from the actual files where you see like kids with pizza parties, did that not like click something in your brain, or is it just me?
Was this recent?
No, see,
No, that was like 2008. Like, it was in Obama's time.
I stopped watching the Grammys a long time ago.
No, I knew about the whole pizza thing before they even came out, as pizza being used as a code word.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I already knew.
So in the Emmy, like, it was Emmys or Grammys, whatever it was, Ellen comes out, she's hosting it, and she's like, hey, I'm going to get down on some pizza. Does anybody want some pizza? And she looks over at Jeffrey, and she's like, Jeffrey, you want to get in on this? And he's like, yeah, I'll take 20. Kevin Spacey, he's like, yeah, I got 20 on it. He's like, the rest, you can keep the rest. And, like, they're joking about it, and it was like a slap in the face, if you will, for the conspiracy people. Like, it was slapping us in the face. So that's what I'm saying now when I see the pictures from the files because it can only show the kids in the little bit of pizza. You can't show anybody in there except for Jeffrey. So, like, you have these pictures, and then you're like, that's Pizzagate. They had pizza for all these kids, and they were, whatever happened in the torture chambers is something else. But anyway, that's all I was saying. Open it up to, the rich and powerful, to the movie stars and the people who portray, these falsehoods, because they're our leaders too, also.
Well, the problem is they're all pedophiles, and I think they can get away with it because they've gotten away with it for so long, is what it is, until they stop getting away with it.
Yes.
And everyday people just go and,
Right.
do what we need to do, basically.
Yep. And so this is just a shocker. How do we dive into it? How do we get into it and prosecute those people?
So what is the owner of Comet Ping Pong's name? He was considered to be one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington, D.C. When you look up his bio, and he's just the owner of some pizza place, right? And you're like, that's weird. So you check out the pizza place's Instagram, and all over their Instagram are like kind of disturbing photos of like children taped down to a table, or like artwork of like children with their arms taped behind their back, or like a picture of a fucking basement fucking shower room with a drain saying this will make the cleanup easier, like weird shit like that, And then you find out that John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's #1 guy, got his emails hacked and released to the public. And in those emails were all of these mentions of cheese pizza and hot dogs and almonds and muffins and all of these weird terms and like the way that they were talking about them was obviously code and was obviously not pizza that they're talking about, for instance, right? And this Comet Ping Pong place kept turning up in the new in searches about this whole thing. And I forget the guy's name, but whoever it is, he was one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington, D.C. for some reason. Well, the whole thing got debunked and I don't remember this guy's name either, but he was some prominent journalist who supposedly did a deep dive into the Pizzagate thing and, debunked the whole thing so that everyone could see. And then, anytime anyone brought it up, well, the CNN people could say, well, that's been debunked. Right. Well, fast forward to today, that same guy who debunked Pizzagate went to jail for raping children.
Oh.
And not just children, but like 3-year-olds, like little kids, right? Like he's into some fucking sick shit. And it turns out maybe it was a case of the fucking wolf dressed in sheep's clothing protecting the sheep while also eating them in the background, right?
Yeah.
So there's that going on. But then it turns out
So was 3-year-olds like pepperoni pizza?
Jesus Christ. Well, then it turns out in the Epstein emails, which I believe is there's like different groups of power, right? There's Epstein, who represents the Israeli or Rothschild circle of influence. You've got Podesta, who would be in the Clinton circle of influence. You've got like Putin's circle of influence. You've got like China's circle of influence. Like there's all of these circles of influence, right? And they're all competing, and they're all working together sometimes and working against each other at other times, but they're all sitting down at this poker table and they're all playing cards. And as soon as someone at the poker table or around the poker table says, hey, I'm going to stop this game of poker from happening, they all band together and fight against that person and kill them, get rid of them, right? And I think maybe, perhaps, that was something that Epstein was preparing to do. He was going to jail, facing decades in prison this time, not a slap on the wrist. He had evidence, he had knowledge about all of these people. And he was talking to his lawyers at the time that he wanted to start naming names and pointing fingers. And then it turns out that a day before Epstein showed up dead in his cell, there was a draft press release written the day before Epstein got murdered in his cell, talking about Jeffrey Epstein being found unconscious in his cell. And then the guards suddenly fall asleep, right? But it turns out that if you look at their internet search history, they weren't asleep. They were looking at expensive cars and vacations. They were looking at new houses. That's weird. And then there's supposedly a video that shows everything that cuts out for a couple of minutes, perhaps key minutes, and you can't see really what's happening from the angle anyway. Like, there's just so much fishy shit going on. And then, after he's dead, someone flew a drone over Epstein Island and see a guy in a golf cart who looks exactly like Epstein on the island. Like, bro, there's some fucking crazy shit going on here.
Well, that's the thing I was going to ask. How you feel about that whole thing that I guess people saying they found out more about the files that he didn't actually die. They just kind of moved him. So make it seem like he pretend
so
that
the
he
story
died.
behind that, if I get my facts correct, is that at some point they were like, oh shit, there's a whole bunch of press who were here at the prison to watch Jeffrey Epstein leave and to follow the body as he leaves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So to throw them off the trail and to get out of here unscathed, what we're going to do is we're going to dress up this bed like there's a person in it, wheel it out to the fucking van out there, shut the door and drive off, like the coroner van. And then all the press people are going to follow, which they did. And then supposedly they put the real body in a black unmarked vehicle and drove it where they needed to go.
There is the AI generated fabrication that Jeffrey Epstein was released with a beard recently, but it's pretty much been confirmed. I mean, according to Google, it's been confirmed to be a lie. I don't know if you guys saw that. I saw it on Instagram.
I didn't, but there's a lot of that going around too, because there was also some photoshopped, or it's not even photoshopped, AI created pictures of Trump with some young girls. That wasn't true too.
I saw that one.
So, and we kind of live in the age of like, man, you really got to fucking double, triple check shit so that you know what's real and what's not. And even if you do double, triple check it, sometimes you're still not sure.
Well, if you see him driving around on the island.
Yeah,
is anybody hearing about this mass shooting in Canada where 10 people are dead? It was a woman in a dress.
Oh my god,
that was doing the shooting.
Well, I thought that they. I thought that their gun. I thought those guns were illegal there.
It's not a woman in a dress.
Sign?
First thing that pulls up. It's not a woman in a dress. It's a man in a dress. Transgenderism needs to be treated as a serious mental problem. Shooter killed his family before going to the high school and killed 6 more people. The Canadian news outlets are referring to this as an incident.
Wait, so is he a man or a woman? We just
man dressed as a woman.
Decepticons,
or is it a trans woman? Because we got to be careful.
No, we don't. It's a man. It's a man wearing a dress.
I call them Transformers. I like
killed his family and then went to a high school and killed 6 more people.
All right, fair enough.
How many transgendered fucking shooters have we had now?
Honestly, I'm starting to get what they meant by we need to stop the trans genocide, because the trans are going to try their hardest to genocide us all.
Well, I mean, the trans genocide is a thing already, because if they stay trans, then they can't have kids. If you don't have kids, it's a genocide.
Or the medical study, how much some of them off, themselves.
Well, there's that too.
Begin with breaking news out of Tumbler Ridge, where a lockdown is in place at a pair of schools due to an active shooter incident. Tumbler Ridge RCMP is urging people to stay inside, lock their doors, and shelter in place. Police were on scene at Tumbler Ridge Secondary about 1:20 this afternoon, responding to an active shooter. Police now say the original suspect has been located deceased.
Elementary school.
And they're now working to determine whether a second suspect was involved and what the total number of victims may be. The initial suspect was described as a female with brown hair wearing a dress. Peace River South School District says a lockdown is in place at both Tumbler Ridge Secondary and Tumbler Ridge Elementary. The RCMP urging people not to go to those schools unless directed to and not to approach any potential shooter. Additional police resources are being deployed to the area from neighboring detachments, along with the North District Emergency Response Team. Begin with.
According to latest updates from Royal Canadian Mounted Police, multiple reliable news sources, 10 people confirmed dead, including 9 victims and the suspected shooter, who died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The victims included 6 people found deceased inside the school, 1 who died en route to the hospital, 2 others discovered in connection at a connected residence. So he killed his mom and dad before he went there. More than 25 people were injured, with at least 2 suffering life-threatening wounds and others airlifted for treatment. The incident began around 1:20 p.m. local time. Wow, bro. Well, good thing Canada's got all their anti-gun laws. They're nice and safe.
Mm-hmm. So which does mean they're going to clamp down even harder now on their gun owners. So what do they have left to own? Muskets?
I was gonna say I didn't pay attention. What area of Canada happened at?
Yeah, they've got those the snow bazooka launchers from
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask what area of Canada this happened at?
British Columbia. BC.
Okay, wait. The trans can still go on, because if let's, for instance, I am a trans woman, and I was to be a lesbian trans woman in love with a cis woman, then we could have babies, and it would be totally woman on woman baby action.
You're in a straight relationship.
Yeah, but what if you're both on hormone block?
But what if I don't identify that way, sir?
If you're both taking the prescribed medications that they give to you when you're transgender, then you wouldn't be able to, because they would give you hormone blockers and estrogen if you have testicles, right?
I have to take T to be a man. Anyway.
So now you're shooting blanks.
Testosterone boosters.
If you're still shooting at all, and if you're a girl, then you know.
Okay.
Get a bunch of testosterone and steroids and shit.
So did you see the video of the anti-ICE protester in Portland who shot up a bunch of people with a BB gun?
No.
How much have you drank tonight? How much
Let's get to the good part.
This is what they did.
Look at that. Oh shit, she just shot me with a BB gun. And she's going down
So she gets in her car after having like a scuffle with everybody.
A BB gun? She's lucky she didn't get killed.
Yeah, look, here she is driving by.
Oh, look at that.
And one dude got shot in the face with it.
And she's going down the wrong way. Look at that.
Wow.
And then she goes on her Instagram and is like, "Oh, I got assaulted." Of course. So this is from Denver News 7. Firearms are now the leading cause of death for Colorado children, and local organizations are stepping up to prevent tragedies before they happen. Right? You're like, wow, that sounds terrible. Firearms are the leading cause of death for children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what you got to do is a deep dive to find out what the actual truth is. So the statistics that they're choosing to use,
19-year-olds and shit,
don't start until you're already 1 year old. So you completely skip all of the sudden infant death syndrome and child and like infant deaths that happen, which would actually be number 1. They also skip, of course, abortions, which would also be number 1. But if you actually put the parameters from 0 to 17, which would be children, so 18 and 19 wouldn't count, but they do in this. The number 1 cause of death for children in Colorado is suicide. Now, if you separate suicide by gun out, also, you make suicide even bigger, because like they put suicide in its own category, and then suicide by gun goes in the firearms death category. So if you separate the suicide by firearm category out of firearm deaths and put it into the suicide deaths, suicide really is number one, like by far. So I think that the real problem is mental health. I think that the real problem is loneliness. I think that the real problem is human connection. I think that the real problem is understanding and compassion. And we don't have a lot of those things in our society today. And that's why you have a lot of suicide and just fucking nihilism coming from the youth, you know? And where does that lead? Nowhere good. So we got to fix that. And
Wow.
taking away guns does nothing to fix that.
Okay.
Well,
right.
I would say not even just the youth. There's even people around our age just acting like that. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, if
Okay.
you want to talk about suicide, do you guys know what the highest suicide rate outside of transgenders is in this country?
White men.
It's a man. Well, he's talking about men.
Middle-aged men.
Yep.
Not even white, just middle-aged men.
Yeah, I got a friend that tried to do that recently, but he realized the fucking bridge was like not that steep.
He's just gonna get hurt.
Right.
He was like, oh.
Yeah, I thought it was the other study where they made about children dying of firearms, where they included 18 and 19-year-olds in that study. They come to find out a lot of them were just gang members getting shot, but they classified them as children. And children dying by guns.
And if you look at this study, they did the same thing. They don't count you until you're already one, and they include 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
So if you just do 0 to 17, you get a whole different data set than if you do 1 to 19, you know?
I saw an interesting one about SIDS the other day, actually, where they were talking about how during the lockdowns in 2020, all these young kids that missed their like 6 and 12-month checkups, all of a sudden the number of SIDS cases went way down because they would have got shot up with all those drugs.
Jeez.
So check this out. We have the Muslim population of Europe since 2000. So in the year 2000, the entirety of Europe had 500,000 Muslims living in it. Today, right now, Europe has 50 million Muslims living in it. So in 26 years, they went from 500,000 to 50 million. There's 100 times more of them than there were 26 years ago. Let's watch this video.
50 million Muslims now live in Europe. At the turn of the century, that number was less than 500,000, and more are arriving every day. As the people who lead these countries try to do what Joe Biden tried to do here, and that is fundamentally change the racial and ethnic makeup of a nation and make white Christians a minority in their own country. In England alone, right now, 10 major cities, including London, now have Muslim mayors in a nation that was built around the Church of England. Muslims are now running major cities across the country for the first time in history, and the English want us to believe that this is all normal.
The Muslim will come out and he will stand for truth and he will stand for justice. May Allah give us the ability to stand for the haqq.
So this is not the Middle East. It's not East Minneapolis even. That is England. And when you see images like that, you can't help but ask why anyone, a prime minister or a president or a king, would deliberately try to destroy their own country. Why would you do that? Why is this being done? And because European leaders still celebrate our failed experiment in open borders, it failed here in the United States, and because they've chosen to stand with radical Muslims over their own people, it's because of all of these reasons, these countries are falling apart and failing.
And why is that? Why is this happening? It seems like systematically in just about every single first world country across the world.
It's the only way New World Order is going to work is if Muslims have as much rights as Christians. That's the only way New World Order works. It's got to be Muhammad and Jesus align in the stars, and everything's perfect. That's the only way.
You're almost there, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. But I believe that, yes, it's for the New World Order. Yes, it's so that they can implement their one world government. But you can't implement your one world government while you have strong, independent, first world countries.
Mm-hmm.
You need to overthrow them. You need to undermine them. You need to destabilize their power to the point where you can topple them over and replace them with your own form of government that will be better, at least initially, than what it replaced. And that's what it'll be. They want to make everything so bad that when they come in with their solution that we wouldn't accept in any other case, we will take it hastily because things are so bad. It's called the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, right?
You pretty much said what I was going to say. I mean,
They create the problem by letting millions and millions of people into the country. They let the problem fester by having those people become violent because they are ideologically different than the countries that they're invading. They don't believe in the Christian values. They don't believe in the freedom of speech. They don't believe in, a lot of the things that make America or the West great, or at least used to. They're diametrically opposed to those things. So they come into the country and they kind of they're like a bull in a china shop, like whether they want to be or not. And especially like the disaffected youth, right? Because these groups of people, at least in our country, from what I've seen today, right now, don't integrate into the society that they become part of, right? So they stay in their Somalian community and never learn English. And then because they don't know English, they can't get a job. And because they can't get a job, they are forever on the government payroll. They'll always be receiving government benefits, which means we're paying for them to be here. I think the statistic was that just in the Somali community, I only know this because I looked it up recently. 90% of Somalian households in the United States require government assistance, right? And you'd think like, well, that's just they just got here. They just got here. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, after 10 years of living in the United States, after a decade of integration, that 90% drops down to 87%. So 10 years of integration gives an extra 3% of people integrating into our society. It's like they're never going to do it. And so they live in these slums and they have their echo chambers, and especially the Muslim communities have fucking directives from their own religion that say you basically have to kill and enslave infidels. And so they go out with this chip on their shoulder and this religious fever behind them that they need to go jihad people. And so then they go out in London with a knife, or run a bunch of people over in Dallas with a car, or, and these things are going to keep happening at an increasing rate because of how many of them there are. And I don't think that there's any way, especially in America, we have freedom of religion here. So their religion, like it or not, is protected by our Constitution. So unless and until they do something egregious, there's nothing you can do about it. They can say whatever they want. That's another thing. We've got freedom of speech and freedom of religion. So they can have whatever shit religion they want, and they can say whatever fucking shitty things they want. And I think it was our founding fathers were talking about the only way that our Constitution and our way of life and the way that America works will continue is if we have a strong Christian, God-fearing populace. And without that, it won't work. And I think we're seeing that right now.
Well, this is the problem when you have invader groups come in all the time, and that's exactly what Islam is. It's exactly what all these Chi-Coms are right now. I don't know if you guys saw that video the other day. There was a Chinese-born foreign national that's now a Texas state rep, and he's an Asian guy, openly calling for attacks on white people right now, and claiming that the recent data about whites becoming a minority in America for the first time ever was not only a good thing, it was basically time for all these minorities to rise up and kill us now. And my question on that one is, how the fuck is this dude still sitting in office and not in a prison cell right now? But the real problem is that when you look at our population from Islamic countries. It's all happened since 9/11. It's all been since around 2003 that they've been brought into our country to be invaders.
Which is crazy, man. It's like if you guys were alive when 9/11 happened, which I think everyone here was.
Yeah.
You remember after 9/11 how like the anti-Muslim sentiment was? Like they had to like go on TV and be like, now everybody, if you're at the store and you see a Muslim, don't get in their face. 9/11 wasn't everyone's fault now. Like, damn, bro.
And now they got one as mayor.
Yeah. Well, for some reason, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what happened there exactly. But suicidal empathy, maybe that's what it is.
That's what a lot of it is for the white liberal females and stuff like that.
Right.
Are you familiar with that term, Z? Suicidal empathy?
No, not specifically, but the more you guys talk about it, it reminds me of a story that I have for you because I was recently down in the cities, Minneapolis specifically, for my birthday, and I went to go see a game, but I needed a pair of swimming trunks, so I went into a Kohl's, and the entire population who worked at Kohl's was Somali. And they were very there was no customer service. Two, they talked in their own language and they were very into their own. And I felt like I was in another country. So whatever you can tell me about the suicidal thing, but whatever is going on with these sects and these people, they're literally taking hold of like whole communities. And like everything in that sector was all controlled by Somalia. And it was wild. I'm just telling you, like it was crazy.
That is crazy, man. I mean, I have a friend who lives in Dallas. He talks about it's not Somalians, it's Indians down there.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And yeah, not feather, but dot. And there's so many of them that like you go to fucking Walmart or whatever, you go to fucking, the store, and you feel like you're in India. You feel like you're in a different fucking country.
That's crazy.
Funny enough, that's what happened. That's what's happening in the Middle East now, because they're complaining there's too many Indians coming in and changing their neighborhoods and putting up like the Hindu statues.
There might be too many Indians. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Indians out there.
What's even crazy, I don't know if you guys saw that video the other day. There was a couple that came into one of the international airports from Nigeria, and the woman was like, I don't know, 70 months pregnant, and was admitting to coming here for birth tourism reasons to have an anchor baby on U.S. soil.
Yeah, dude, that's another thing that we gotta address is the birthright citizenship. I think that like we're the only country in the world that does that. First of all, so I'm not saying we, like in my opinion, if you were born here and we gave you a birth certificate and a fucking social security card, and because that's the way things worked, like you got in, fine. I don't think we can or should do anything about them, but I think we need to change that fucking policy so that that doesn't happen moving forward. So that people, because like think about this, I think the statistic was 6,000 women, like pregnant women, die, or during the Biden administration, I should say, 6,000 women died coming into America from South America, or from Mexico anyway, crossing the desert because they're pregnant and they're, vulnerable, and things happen and they don't make it. And no one talks about, you hear about like the, whatever her name was, the good woman who got shot, and that's terrible and it's awful, and that shit should be avoided at all costs, but no one talks about the 6,000 women who died crossing the desert to get here. No one talks about the babies that are dead in the desert right now, buried. No one will ever find.
So what are you gonna do with those babies that come over? You still got to talk about the suicide empathy thing, but what are you gonna do with all those babies that are born to parents that come over here and they do it just to get in? What do you do with them? Do you nationalize the kids for 2 years and then tell them at age 2 you have to move out, or do you take them from the parents? Do you make the parents go through citizenship, and if they can't, then you deport them and the kid? Do you steal the kid? Like, I mean,
I think the way that it works
and the more right
now
back.
is like, let's say you're legal and your parents are not, right? And they do something to get arrested, or they happen to get swept up, or whatever, for whatever reason they're getting deported, right? You can be deported with them, or you can stay with a family member who is a citizen here because you're a citizen. That's the way it works now. So if you don't have anywhere, you don't have like an uncle or a cousin or something that you can live with, then we'll let you take your kid back. You know, we're not going to separate your family and tell you can't have your kid, but we're also saying you can't stay here. So what do? You got to take the kid with you, I guess, because you don't have anywhere else for the kid to go.
Okay.
I think that's the way it works.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wild.
But I mean, the whole thing's fucking stupid, man. Like, honestly, there's a bunch of people who are here who are working hard, who are doing the right thing, who aren't a problem for anybody. And I think that, like, what are you going to do about them? Like, go door to door and fucking find all, like, that's not fucking right either. You know, like, that's not a good thing to do. And it looks terrible. It honestly does. Like, you want to not be the Nazis? You want to not be the bad guys? Well, one way to fucking fail at that is to go door to door and round people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With a mask on, no rules of acquisition whatsoever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so the mask thing, you know why they wear masks, yeah?
Me, I understand why they wear masks for sure, but again, it's wrong.
But it looks bad, right? So visually, yeah, it forces them into a position where they have to wear a mask. But do you know who else wears masks? Like the federales in Mexico who go after fucking cartels, because if their identity gets found out, then their daughter gets chopped up, you know?
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same reason, but it's kind of the same reason here, you know?
Well, it would be the same reason if they did get their identities.
Right. Well, I'm saying there's no cartels chopping up fucking like federales children here. But
right.
Your daughter's gonna get harassed at school, or your son's gonna get beat up, you know?
You guys are so interested in protecting the Second Amendment right to bear arms, but you're willing to give up your right to your First Amendment, basically freedom of speech, and then your Fourth Amendment, freedom to be secure in your possessions. Like, there's other amendments that are important to the Constitution. So you're willing to sacrifice those other two for the guns? Like, so they come in, they have a mask, you can't see who they are, you tell them, I'm an American citizen and I don't owe you shit, and I'm allowed to talk to you like that because I was born here. I don't have to prove my citizenship. I don't have to prove it. Because anything other than me telling you no, and then you proving it somehow through investigative purposes that don't include me incriminating myself, is illegal, like, against the Constitution. So, like, period. There's no other way around that. Like, you can't, like, circumvent and, like, make up possibilities. So I don't care if you show your mask or not, but if I ask you to identify yourself, you legally have to identify yourself, and you don't because you're under that, you know, Homeland Security thing. That's fine. But again, you shouldn't be able to define, like, I'm brown. So you're going to look at me and be like, oh, well, you're obviously from Mexico, or you're obviously, like, people accuse me of being from, like, Islam or whatever.
Wait,
and it's like, bro,
hold up. You're brown? What the hell is you doing on this panel?
Yeah, fool. What? You're brown too. You're black. What the hell? What the fuck is going on?
But I'm not brown.
Well, you're a darker brown than me. That's all. We're all brown. Even white people are brown. Like, you have those light peaches, and then you do have the whites, you know, the albinos. But we're not talking about them.
Well, I mean, as far as I understand, for the most part, they are going after specific targeted individuals. And I have no problem with that. Like, if there's a rapist or a murderer or someone who has been, you know, specifically ordered for deportation for whatever reason by the DOJ or by whoever, and they are going after Juan Valdez to send him back to Colombia to get more coffee because we're tired of him here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with them going after Juan Valdez.
Right.
In fact,
Honda kicked himself out.
So
Ice
Honda,
got him. Ice
like,
got him.
yeah, but like, what happens when you're going after Juan Valdez, and then Sean Zarate comes up and he's like, "Hey, bro, I'm just going to videotape you because that's my right, and I'm not going to ID myself because fuck you," and then I get attacked and murdered for doing nothing. I don't even have a gun. I'm trying to call my mom and be like, "Hey, record this. This is my last moment in time." Like, come on, like.
So, okay. Number one, that hasn't happened. That has not happened.
Not to me, but it did happen to that guy.
No, it didn't.
Well, yeah, it did. Absolutely. I saw the video. You can't take away what I saw.
Dude had a gun on him and fucking struggled with the police while he was standing in the street and resisted arrest. Then he had a phone in his hand, which the police thought was a gun at the time, and shot him. That's different than what you said.
No, it's not. I don't agree with what you're saying.
That's completely different than what you just said.
It is not. He had the phone. You're right. He was videotaping, and he was directing traffic because he was literally directing traffic.
He was standing in the middle of the street.
I was actually there. I was actually there during, like, I was just down the street a little ways for sure. I wasn't in the violence, but yeah, he was videotaping. I saw from the other angle. The cop pushed a woman. And look, where was the gun? Did you see the gun? He had a concealed carry license. Where was the gun? Who knows?
It wasn't on him, though.
Yeah, exactly. So he has a video. He got in between because he was helping the woman. And then you have 4 officers. I watched him get hit in the head with the butt of a gun 4 times. There's no man on earth that I know of is going to take that from any dude. And you have 4 armed officers around you. There's no excuse to pull your weapon, whether or not a gun fell on the ground or not, whether or not you had control. If you and me, Mark, and let's just say lawfully armed were all together and we had one dude like submitted, we know we got that guy submitted. We're not afraid of anything popping out from him because we're on top of him, beating him down. Give me a break. Like, I could have, subdued the guy myself. Like, he had 4 officers around him. Sorry, but that's a hard one to like pass over as nothing.
Well, the thing is that there's the laws of deadly force and self-defense, right? And the law of deadly force and self-defense doesn't say, oh, if the guy has a gun and he's going to shoot you, then you can shoot him. It does say that, but it also says if a reasonable person would perceive their life to be in danger in the situation, then you are authorized to use deadly force. The guy had a gun on him. He had a phone in his hand. A shot went off. Police officers reacted. No one's going to be charged with a crime. Not murder anyway. And I'm not saying what led up to it was right. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't carry a gun. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a First Amendment right. But I am saying that when you carry a gun on your waist and you get into an altercation with officers, you are playing a deadly game.
That's true. But even the DOJ agrees and the chief of police agrees that what happened that day was ridiculous. And for them to send the National
chief
Guard
of police is just a mouthpiece for who's ever in charge. So
even then, I'm sorry. I'm just telling you, I saw the video. You can't like annex.
Everybody's seen the video.
Right. Well, I'm telling you,
so
dude,
you know what happened.
They're going to be charged with murder because at the time they pulled the trigger, I get no one's going to go to court and be like, yeah, I knew it was a phone and I shot him anyway. Not one of them is going to say that. They're going to go to court and they're going to say, I heard a gunshot go off. I heard an officer yell, gun, gun, gun. I looked down. I saw something in his hand. I pulled my weapon and I shot 5 times. And they're going to say, gavel, not guilty.
Yeah, and that's
well,
exactly what I'm
especially
saying.
because I've heard differing things about the whole situation where he did not have the phone in his hand initially. He pulled it out from behind his back, which could have been a second gun. And that completely changes things. Because if you're already disarming somebody with a first gun, like, I don't know, you're not grabbing a second gun, dude. I'm going to unload your ass too at that point.
Well, I mean, the point is, regardless of the actual facts of what happens when you slow down the fucking video and watch it in slow motion, frame by frame, and so that you know exactly frame by frame, second by second, every fact of what happened, versus the guy's perceptual experience of going through it in real time are two different things too.
Yeah. Well, going out there with a gun is stupid. Again, he needed a gun to defend himself. I'm just one of those people that's going to be on the side pulling my camera out and videotaping. I pulled my camera out to videotape an accident the other day because I happened to see it, and I was videotaping and making sure things were good. And I had a guy yell out of his car, put that camera away, you fucking faggot, liberal, whatever. And like I was like, holy crap, you don't even know me, number one. Number two, it's my right to videotape. And like I'm making sure that the person's okay who's being interrogated by the cops and who just got in an accident. So like you don't even know me, and they just wanted to be belligerent because I want to videotape, which is my First Amendment right. So like I'm confused as to where I should have the camera or the aggression pointed at me.
Well, there's certainly a lot of tribalism going on right now, and that definitely affects both sides. And I think that when you experienced that, you were experiencing some tribalism from the side that is perhaps in favor of what ICE is doing right now. And I'm not saying that I advocate that. I'm just saying that's probably what that was. It wasn't about you. It was about the situation going on. And they saw you recording. And I'm guessing, I don't know this, but they probably saw you recording and assumed things about you. And were already angry about situations because of tribalism and yelled. And that's not right. And that's not how we should be, man. That's not it. That's not it at all.
No, it's wild for sure.
And like I'd look at people like Gandhi or Martin Luther King, right? Like Martin Luther King, when they were in the streets during the civil rights movement, and there were actual racists like throwing stones and names and everything else that they could at these people who were actually peacefully protesting, because that during the civil rights movement, if there was a group of black people who were protesting that turned violent, what would happen? So yeah, like they had to be peaceful, but not only were they peaceful, they were also very agreeable. They were very good-natured. They were very friendly in the way that they would protest. They weren't getting in people's faces and screaming. They weren't using whistles and blowing them at the top of their lungs and getting in officers' way and doing all that. No, they got the community. They got America on their side and behind them by actually being peaceful, by actually being amicable, by being likable, by being friendly, and by being stern and having a point and pointing to things that are unfair and showing it to people until they see it. And I see a lot of things that are unfair right now. And honestly, from both sides. It's not just one side. And I know, depending on what side you're listening to, right? When I said that, you thought of all of the things that are egregious towards the side that you're on. But I'm telling you that there are things on both sides. Both sides are right and both sides are wrong. And we need to call balls and strikes. We need to hold people accountable. We need to make our voices heard. And we need to, not shut up. We need to keep talking. We need to keep having this conversation, because the second that we stop having this conversation, the second that this discourse ends and the two sides stop talking, that's when you get the actual violence. That's when you get actual demonization of other sides and dehumanization of people to the point where you're willing to kill someone or advocate killing someone because they're on the other side, because they're not actually human, because they're whatever, right? And we are one country. And we need to remember that the people that are protesting, while you might not agree with them, they're still Americans and they have that right. Now, they don't have the right to get violent. But
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments.
What, Roadhouse?
Well, there's Roadhouse. There's the one that did a shout out. They should have Peter Griffin. there, so no one would have gotten shot roadhouse, and that's hilarious. And then I feel like this guy is full of it. I wasn't protesting. I'm definitely not protesting, and that guy should have had a gun protesting. I completely agree with that. It's ridiculous. Don't do it. Like, come on, be smarter than that. You took the class. You know you can't interrogate or like endanger people. You have to walk away from any situation. So going to a protest with your gun is asking for stupidity, regardless.
I disagree. I think going to a protest with a gun is acceptable, and I encourage it. Getting into altercations that you could have avoided while carrying a gun,
like directing traffic.
Yeah. Like standing in the middle of traffic. I mean, yeah, like what the cops did were wrong. They shouldn't have done several things that they did. But ultimately, the situation that guy was in, he did a fair amount to put himself in that position.
And it was Border Patrol. It wasn't actually ICE. It was Border Patrol who did that.
And it wasn't even Border Patrol. There was one of the guys was a corrections officer, because they're so short. So here's what's going on, right? They're like, Minneapolis is fighting against ICE, and ICE is trying to do these things. So ICE only has so many people, so they have to call in other agencies and other officers to help protect them while they do their thing. And one of the guys that shot, actually, I think it was the chick. He was a corrections officer, if I remember. I might be wrong on that, but one of them was a corrections officer. I know that for sure. I just don't remember.
Less training they need to have on the streets is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. Pretty much.
And that's the thing, is like they're put in these positions that they're not trained for. They're trained for like a prison riot, not a fucking protest. They're trained for
they're scared.
For going after a specific individual, not for like crowd control, you know?
Well, I think the one thing that we've seen in the past 6 years or so since the 2020 riots is that people don't understand the actual definition of peaceful protesting, because that would include having a redress of grievances against the government. If you got a problem with it, have a fucking piece of paper in your hand and be like, this is what we have an issue with ICE, and have a bullhorn and be like, this is why we have an issue with ICE. Like, you know, and deal with it peacefully. You don't go jumping ICE agents and think you're not going to get shot.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this real quick. Give me a second.
We just talked about it. It wasn't ICE. It was Border Patrol, and apparently some guy who was, prison guard.
Right.
Oh my God, Roadhouse! If that DVD even touches Roadhouse, I will kill you. Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
Ow!
Roadhouse.
Peter, for God's sakes, if you're gonna do that, at least aim for my
Oh,
breast.
why did it go black?
Oh, yeah.
It went black. Is it just right there? Okay, here we go.
Roadhouse. Wait, why are you taking the back way home? There are so many turns. Roadhouse. 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 Ghost.
Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by.
Well, thanks, Gerald Cogny, for that. That was a nice little reprieve from this bullshit. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do about nothing anymore, man. I don't know, but we've been going about an hour and a half for this chat, and that's about how long we normally go for the Gay Frog chat. Does anyone have any last thoughts that you would like to leave us with? Any words of wisdom to impart us with before we leave?
I'm more brown than Leo thinks I am.
Okay.
Leo's more white than you think he is.
What? Really? Shit. Okay, that's fair.
All right. Well, on that note, deuces y'all shall not be infringed. Trooper to shop, but not but a pressure. Batacath care. Prec the troops. 2 words made in America. And we'll see y'all next time. Deuces.